to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today we got Brandon.
Hello.
And we are here to talk about games and things.
Games and things.
And what's on the agenda today?
I played some games.
Oh, yeah. The hot topic of Dogma 2.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to love it. What else we got? Pokemon, Stellar Blade.
I don't know if that was sarcasm. Is that sarcasm?
Everyone loving Dragon's Dogma?
Dragon Dogma 2? Yeah.
Oh, no, obviously it's sarcasm.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I've seen lots of negative thoughts on this. But do you like it? Is that where you are?
I love it.
Probably where we're going.
I love it. Yeah. It's great. It's very different. So, like, I don't know. Did you ever play the original Dragon's Dogma?
I did not.
Okay. So, Dragon's Dogma is like, let's see. What's the best way to describe it? So, you've at least played Shadow of the Colossus, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the gameplay kind of consists a lot of Shadow of the Colossus type gameplay. Like you can grab and hang on to bosses and like climb up to them for like to get to like their weak points and attack them while on their backs and stuff, and climb up to their head and like stab them in the head and do this, that, and the other. And but you can also just do normal, slashes, getting your special skills, this, that, and the other. Go around from town to town, buy armor, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. I think a lot of people's issue with this game is kind of dumb. And I'll go ahead and say this right now. So the biggest problem that this game had, and I'm going to go ahead and be upfront about the biggest problem that I've seen that people have said about this game. It goes in twofold. One, on console, it runs at 30 FPS, and on PC, it has very many performance issues. Right, that's the first problem. Which, all right, well, what doesn't in this day and age?
Yeah.
Which fucking sucks, but it is what it is, because that's just kind of where we are now in this console generation, which really makes me think this console generation is absolute dog shit. But we'll move on from that. Next, there are like 21 pieces of DLC for this game. Day one DLC, and a lot of it makes the game kind of pay to winny, is what people would say, I guess. However, here's the thing, right? So when Capcom puts out a new game and they're like, buy orbs, buy food, buy blah 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 blah, that sort of shit that Capcom always does in every single one of their fucking games, where they just overload the market with lots of bullshit microtransactions for no reason whatsoever, and you don't ever have to touch them. But if you look at the game page, that's what it's full of. That's what happened here. But people decided to get all up in arms here because, well, it's a game that everyone was looking forward to, and they didn't expect it to be put in this game. But that's just kind of what Capcom does nowadays, which is not excusable, and it's not good. It fucking sucks. So, for instance, you can buy incense, you can buy a heart pendant, you can buy smoke beacons, you can buy music and soundtrack, whatever. You can buy a camping kit, you can buy an art book, you can buy makeshift keys, you can buy rift crystals, you can buy wake stones. But here's the thing, you can also find all of that, except for like the art book, obviously, and the soundtrack, in the game itself. And you can find them quite a lot. Another of the issues I've seen people talk about is the fact that there's technically no like fast travel, like when you like go to a place and you like can instantly fast travel. But it's not entirely true, because any town you go to, you can go to like one of the carriages and be like, can you take me to this other town that I've been to? And you just pay a bit of gold that you've got from in-game, and you get taken to the other town. So you don't have to continuously run on foot from place to place to place. Although I do love doing that for multiple reasons in this game. One of the major reasons is the pawn system, which was also in the old game, but I do feel like it's been more refined in this one in such a really cool way. So the pawn system is a character that you design at the beginning of the game. And this goes for everyone in the game. You make a pawn, and the pawn that you design then helps you find items in the world and this, that, and the other. And when you go and find an item, the pawn learns about where the item is. And when you go to sleep in an inn in this game, if anyone has picked up your pawn and brought it into their game, because all the pawns that everyone's made show up out in the world to make it seem more populated and more real. And you can pick them up and bring them with you, and the abilities and the gear and everything that the person who made the pawn has will then be transferred over to whoever's playing using that pawn, and the AI will control that pawn just like the AI was controlling the pawn with you. But one of the really cool and neat ideas I think with this game is if you find like some kind of special item or a treasure chest or hidden wall or what have you, like some kind of secret den or whatever, the pawn that you bring in will learn that, and when it gets sent out to someone else and they're playing using your pawn, it'll say something like, my master in another world found a treasure chest around here, would you like me to show you where it's at? And then the other player can like press up on the D-pad, and then the pawn runs to where you, the player, as in me, where I found that treasure chest, but my friend that's playing hasn't found that treasure chest, but he has my pawn, so my pawn shows him where that treasure chest is. Okay. So it's kind of got like a really neat like living world system built into it that's like really fun and really enjoyable. And it also like, as long as everyone's playing the game, we all just kind of learn from each other, everyone that's playing, without actually having an online multiplayer element to this game. Because there is no multiplayer, but the pawn system kind of makes everyone feel connected in a way, without there being an online multiplayer system. And I really, really like that, because it makes you feel like you discovering something helps other people out there in the world that are playing using your pawn, and vice versa when you take someone else's pawn. And I really enjoy that system. I think it's super fun. And people can also send your pawn back with like gear. So like, for instance, my buddy James, he was playing and he sent me back a bunch of gear that my pawn brought back. And my pawn was like, another master in another world named Simi told me to come back with this. And my pawn brought me back a shit ton of gear that would help me in the game. So my friend was able to give me gear that he didn't need anymore to help me, since I was just starting out in the game. So I was able to do that. And it was really, really cool that everything, like I said, feels connected without it being an online multiplayer game. And it's super fun. It's really enjoyable, because without the like quote unquote normal fast travel system where you like zoom out in the map and you just click a place and then you're fucking there in seconds, you actually have to like walk around and explore the world. And it makes that pawn system like actually valuable, because of the fact that it wants you to explore the world. It wants you to find hidden things, and it wants everyone to be able to share those moments with each other as well. And that's kind of what the pawn system does there, and it allows you to do as a whole. And it's super enjoyable. It's really fun. It's a very different kind of action adventure RPG game than pretty much any of the others. And I dig it. I dig it a lot, like a lot. Now, I've been playing on PC, so I'm probably not running into a lot of the slowdown issues and frame rate issues that people are on consoles, but I still do have some of it, but it mostly takes place in the hub areas. So like when you get to a town, I may drop from like 60, 70, 80 FPS down to like 40s, but it's not a big deal, and it kind of happens like clockwork. And most of the time you're not going to have a battle in the town. But another element of this game that's actually super fucking cool is that you can have enemies invade the towns as well, sometimes just randomly. Okay. So like, for instance, I've seen a video, this has not happened to me, but I've seen it happen to other people, where someone was trying to buy like a new sword and everything, but the person was cowering behind their shop like desk, and the person was trying to figure out what was going on, and they turn around and a big fucking like orc has come into the town, and now there's a giant battle taking place in the town, and people are having to use the buildings to get a vantage point to jump on top of it and like stab it in the head. And it makes the whole game feel very dynamic, and like the game that you're playing is your game, as opposed to the game that was designed specifically for everyone to play. So everyone kind of has their own little moments, and different things happen to different people the way they play the game, because of the AI system that's in this game. And I think that's really like fun and very inventive and different from many other RPGs with an open world. And I like it. I like it a lot, actually. I think this is a really good game that has a lot of performance issues and has a lot of like underlying problems, but the freedom that you get from it to do things kind of outweighs the faults that are in the game itself.
Yeah, which is reasonable. Just like most things, you got to take, different
the good with the bad, and yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was definitely on board with instantly hating this game because of all the fucking DLC. But as I learned more and more about it and became less, what's the word I'm looking for? Just reactionary, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I realized that yes, that is not okay, but also it does not affect you. It doesn't. It doesn't affect you if you want to play the game. You can still play the game without spending a single dime aside from buying the game initially. And I like it. It's really fun. Some people that I am friends with have like created pawns and things based off of other franchises, and they've been able to like design that character to look like that character. And it's super cool. So yeah, I really dig Dragon's Dogma 2. It's a lot of fun to play.
Okay. Pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I highly recommend it. If you ever have a chance, if it comes to Game Pass, or if, I don't know, you can get it for like $40. I would say even like $40. This game is definitely worth it on a whim to give a try. It's on Xbox Series X. It's on PS5. It's not on Switch because the Switch would probably literally explode in your hands if you attempted to play it. And it will not work on Steam Deck currently because it is just either poorly optimized or way too fucking powerful for its own good. And I can't tell which one it is.
Could be either.
It could be both, honestly. So there's that. I would like to move on, though, to another game that I played. I'm going to talk about Stellar Blade. So I got to finally play Stellar Blade.
Mm-hmm.
The demo was released for people, aside from the ones that accidentally got to play it ahead of time. And I have some thoughts on this game, and I'm not entirely sure how to feel about it. So this is a Souls-like. You know I like Souls-like games.
Mm-hmm.
I love Souls-like games. But I do feel that the timing in this game is so tight that it's very difficult to get things right. It's not so much that I'm like... So your block is very slow. So the timing window that you have for perfect guarding, which is a huge part of this game, is very, very tight to the point where like you might even feel like you're doing it right, but you're not. It has to be like perfect. I don't think this game is particularly hard. I ran through the entire original boss fights and the whole main little like demo campaign portion without dying. So it was like fairly easy there. But I did play the challenging boss, and I lost a few times to it. Then I spent like an hour and a half trying to learn all of its patterns. And when I finally did, I learned that the patterns and the fight is so weird with the way that it's designed that I don't know how well it's going to carry a full game. But with this little slice that I played, I really enjoyed my time and I had a lot of fun with it. But I was frustrated at several points because of that timing window. That timing window felt really difficult to get down, and at times it felt like my controller was not responding to me. When I went to do the block, instead it would just do a hard block instead of a perfect parry. So I felt like I was getting fucked over when I shouldn't have, and it was very confusing. The music is awesome. The world design is very weird as well. When you play this demo, it starts you from the beginning of the game.
Okay.
When you start at the beginning of this game, I feel like I am a character that just came in the middle of season 3 or part 3 of a game that I should have already known about. And that really had me like, what the fuck is going on here? There was a lot of bullshit thrown at me very quickly that had me be like, okay, I guess I'm just accepting this. All right, fine, sure. And it had a very Bayonetta feel to it, but whereas Bayonetta is over the top bullshit and like you're just like, okay, guess we're doing this. Sure, why not? Because it's very fun in Bayonetta, and it's very like in your face, and like it's super exaggerated. I almost don't feel like the bullshit's exaggerated enough in this game, and the character, since the character you play as, Eve, is some kind of android, I believe. Not fully explained, but whatever. It seems like it's taking itself a bit too seriously, so that I can't fully accept the over-the-top bullshit, and at times I'm just like, all right, sure, I guess we're doing this now. Like, for instance, the game starts out and you're falling out of space from a fucking pod and drop landing onto a planet, and then, like, I'm just like, why is there a giant space war going on? Why am I falling out of here? Why am I being shot onto this planet? Why am I here on this planet? Okay, it wants me to hold R2, so I'm holding R2, and I'm holding R2 attempting to open up the door of the space pod, and it doesn't really open up, and I can't get it to open up, and then someone rips the door off and is like, come on, we have to go, there's a war, and this girl yanks you out, and like she yanks you out of this pod that's something like a fucking egg essentially, so it's just like runny and watery and everything's all slick and everything, and it's like, okay, well, I see where we're going there.
When you said it looked like an
exactly.
egg.
No, exactly. So like I get ripped out of it and I'm just like, okay, cool. And then like there's just a fucking intergalactic war going on, and now I'm down on the planet and shit's exploding everywhere, and there's fucking like mortar cannons being fired, and I feel like I'm in the middle of something that I should already know about, but I don't know about it, and I don't know why it's happening, and I don't know what's going on, and I just kind of have to accept it. But then when you do accept it, like I said, the game takes itself so incredibly seriously that at points I'm just like, are we really? We're really taking it this serious? You know? Nier Automata, when you play that game, you can accept everything that's going on there. It kind of eases you into the crazy. And if you played Nier Replicant, you kind of already understood where the crazy was going. And Nier is a sequel to Nier Replicant, so, you know, whatever. There's that. So it's acceptable, and you understand, and you get it when you're playing Nier. And this game feels like it wants to be Nier, like, really badly, if Nier was a Souls-like instead of a character action game. And then there's like a huge juxtaposition between all the crazy fucking over-the-top shit that's going on, and then the like slow moments where it's like, yes, this planet, it's been destroyed. People used to inhabit it, but no one's here anymore. And blah 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 blah. Giving me all this fucking backstory and everything. It's like fucking trauma dump exposition the fucking game at points, and I'm just like, all right, sure, I just want to go kill more fucking creatures that look like they're from Resident Evil. Let's do that. And when you get to do that, when you actually get to play the game, it's really fun. It's really enjoyable. It's really good. I could not give a flying fuck less about the story, and the story is trying to take itself so seriously that it wants you to give a flying fuck about it. Like every single time I found something new, instead of just letting it breathe and letting me understand the new thing, it was like, here's a fucking 2-minute-long cutscene explaining what this thing is. And at points in times, I had already understood these mechanics because I learned them on my own. And it was explaining a mechanic I already understood, and I was just like, all right, sure, whatever, fine, fuck it. And then at other points in times, I didn't get to use a mechanic because the game hadn't explained it to me, and it had a lot of that slow start that was just kind of like, blah, 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 blah. But in general, when I can play the game, it's really fucking fun, if not a little frustrating because of the timing windows. But the story of this game feels like dog shit. It feels like it's just trying way too hard, and it doesn't quite earn its way too hard trying status. But that's fine, because I kind of just want to run through an intergalactic war and fight things that look like monsters out of Resident Evil. And when I'm actually playing the video game, it's really fun. It's really enjoyable. But when I'm doing the other stuff, it's like, all right, cool. I don't really care about this cutscene or whatever. What's really going to make or break it is like the gunplay, because I know there's gunplay later on. So when that comes in, that's really going to make or break this game. That's really going to change it from either being like a 9 out of 10 to like a 7 or 6. And I'm not sure where we're going here. It could go either way for this game. But the combat in general right now feels really good and really fun to do. And it's like super flashy and over the top when you're doing it. But then the juxtaposition between that and the story is just kind of, all right, whatever. I don't give a shit, essentially. That's where I am. I might pick this up. I really want to pick this up when it releases, because I did enjoy it, but there is another Souls-like that I kind of want to play right now also. So
it's possible to do that. Maybe some of the shortcomings of the story are related to the demo.
So the demo is a slice of the game starting from the beginning. And
so it's the very,
it carries
very
over. And it carries over.
It carries over, then definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
never mind that theory.
Yeah. No, I was thinking that too, but then I saw at the end it was like your progress will carry over after the demo, and I was like, wait, so that was actually the beginning? What the fuck is going on?
I was saying because I was like, well, maybe there's like a little bit of a tutorial bit, a little bit extra story that kind of.
The tutorial is in the demo. The tutorial's in the demo.
Well, I know there's bits in there, but I'm just saying, like, maybe they had something else, and then they had more in the first part. I don't know.
The only
thing
just
guessing, but
so essentially, what I was saying is the only way I could see this like making sense and then being able to clean this up is if like before you press start on the game there's like a 10-minute intro or something, like how they have those games like where if you sit on the home screen you get like this little thing, it's like, oh, before the blah 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 blah, or before or right after it shows you the opening credits where it's like, this is made by this company, this is made by this company, and then gives you like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, that sort of thing. If they're not showing that and that gets played at the beginning of the full game as context, then I'll be like, oh, okay. But seeing as though we are having our story progress carry over, I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
But that scenario is more likely.
Yes,
I would say.
It is.
Because I would even say even in games that still do that, which is not that frequent. It used to be a lot, like in the previous generations. But even in the games that still do that, I've noticed that there are games where if you start them and don't watch that intro cutscene, like it doesn't show you the intro cutscene too. It just kind of starts there and leaves you to watch the intro cutscene on your own. So it's possible. Definitely not unheard of before.
Yeah.
Who knows? I guess
I don't hate this game. I don't love it like I thought I would, but I also don't fully understand it right now. So I'm just like, all right, I'm just kind of in the middle. I'm waiting until we get closer. There was this really cool thing at the end when you beat like the thing where it showed you like a compilation of stuff that will be coming up in the like full game. It was like a little trailer, and that shit looked really fucking cool. Like all of it looked awesome, and it made me hyped to play the full game. But all of it was combat. None of it was story. So I do feel like this is going to be one of those games where it's like the story is just going to be just fucking ignore it. Just play the game,
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's totally fine. But when I like play a character action or a Souls-like game, I want shit that's over the top and doesn't take itself so seriously. This one, within like the first 5 minutes, like you've got your main character screaming out, "No! All of our people are dead! Ah! Oh my god!" Because a fucking intergalactic ship just fell out of the fucking sky and smashed into all of your friends that you were fighting alongside right in front of you. When that shit happens so quickly, it's like whiplash. And then the character decides to start and like almost get like super emotional, and I'm just like, come on, carry on, just move on. We saw the giant fucking boss that was behind that ship. We're gonna have to fight that. Shut the fuck up and let's go. And then it's so disconnected, it felt like, but like it wasn't enough to hinder my enjoyment of the game, but it was enough for me to be like, I don't give a shit about this story at all. Which is a shame, because it's really trying to do a Nier Automata thing, and I love Nier, as you know, so more games like that I'm totally down for, but it feels like this one's just falling flat on its fucking face while trying to do it. Like it doesn't fully understand or grasp what made that game so special. So yeah. But there's that. So there's that. We're gonna take a step away from that, and we're gonna go to another game that I ended up playing. And this is a free game. It is very interesting. I don't ever see a scenario where this one comes to console, so there's that. But I will still share some of the really interesting aspects of this game and some of my frustrations with it as well. I kind of love this game. It's called Voices of the Void, but it does have some very weird design decisions, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So this is a Do you know what immersive sims are?
No.
Okay, so immersive sims are a genre where you kind of are left in a sandbox to solve the problem all on your own, however you see fit, that sort of thing.
Okay.
And you're trying to do something that's very sim-like, so like very simulation style. So it could be like an RPG simulation, which those games would be like the Deus Ex games,
Mm-hmm.
or it can be like a simulation like Truck Sim, something like that sort of thing.
Okay.
So this is a little bit of both. You start out working at this observation tower, and the observation tower is to observe the planets and the other species that might exist outside of our own. So you're out here looking for life on other planets. You're out here looking for aliens, that sort of deal.
Okay.
And this is kind of a horror game, but also kind of like a very immersive game. You have to do things like every single day. You have to check the satellite dishes. So you have to like climb and trek up mountains and everything, and go to each individual satellite dish and check them, make sure they're working correctly. And if they're working correctly, you jot down the information that they give you on an actual like piece of paper, because you can like rip off sheets of paper from like clipboards and like write down the information that you've been given. And then you have to take that back to your observation den that you have, and also find different signals every single day. So you have a computer. You have 4 screens on the computer in front of you. Each one of them does a different thing. One of them allows you to scan like the universe, essentially. It allows you to scan the entire solar system, and you'll like press shift, for instance, and shift will ping, and then there'll be these little red arrows that show you like what direction to go in, and you'll scan across towards those arrows where they were pointing at until you find like a planet or a star or something that's like pulsating. Then you'll hit enter on that, and once you do that, all your satellites that are outside in the world, outside of your observation place that you have, if you've repaired them, if you've checked on them, if you've made sure they're all in working order, they'll turn specifically to face that one planet or star or whatever you've just detected. After that, you then have to go over to one of your other computers, which allows you to hone in on the frequency. So you have to like actually turn the knobs and turn them to certain like numbers, exact numbers, to get it to hone into exactly like 100% or like 99% frequency. And then you have to wait as it downloads the signal that's being sent back to you from where you just pinged at on your computer. After you've downloaded the signal, you have another computer monitor that's right next to you where you can like insert a tape, and the tape will then play back the sound that you heard from that planet or that star or whatever that thing is. And you can record that onto a tape. And then what you want to do is you want to process that and try to see if you can actually find like life out there, like life or something that's trying to speak back to you instead of just having your normal signal. See if there's any irregularities in the sounds you just got back from wherever you just pinged. And the general idea is to take that and use that as like a way to categorize the different planets that you've found, the different stars that you've found, and the like signals that you got back from them, hence Voices of the Void. And when you get those, you then put them inside of a box, and you can ship them off to the person you're working for every day, and they'll give you a certain amount of points based on how well you did, how good the signal came through, so on and so forth. And you can do all these different things with your computer as you get those points, and like level it up so your download speed is faster, or make it so it's easier to home in on the signal, or make it so you could ping the signal more often, or make it so the signals can be processed. And when you process the signals, it like clears up any of the noise and makes it so it's clearer and clearer and clearer. And all of this sounds really weird and interesting and different, probably. I don't know. I thought it did. I don't know how you think. But yeah, but this is also a horror game. So let me go ahead and tell you that.
Okay, because expecting that.
Because the more you're able to interact with these signals and actually get something back, the more these visitors want to know what is being sent to them and what this place is. So you're in a big open sandbox with all of these different satellites and everything. And you're living here in the observation place, but you can go out to every single one of the satellites, and there's big open forest and everything. Mm-hmm. But if you speak into the void and the void speaks back, sometimes the thing that's speaking to you is going to come to you and find out who's speaking to it. So you do this, and eventually you'll get the attention of those visitors who will come and start trying to figure out what you are. And they have different anomalies that happen based on which type you find and which type come to you. And some of these are like really cool, like they're invisible, like they have floating eyes. Some of them are able to like cause you to have nightmares where they essentially have you, but you are in like a state where you're a vegetative state. So when you go to sleep, because you have to also monitor your sleep and eat, like a normal kind of survival game, that sort of thing. But sometimes they'll visit you while you're sleeping, and they'll just mess around with your observation thing. Sometimes they'll knock out your power, and you need to go out and you need to fix the power. But there's something out there with you while you're going to do this. And then sometimes, and this is the one I don't like, and it's apparently rare, but I got it in one of my games, and I was unable to ever get rid of it.
Yeah. Sometimes
the void will actually come to you in the form of an actual, like, black dark hole like entity.
Okay.
And while you're out doing your normal task at night, because you sometimes have to go do things at night, like if the power gets knocked out or whatever, and it will sneak up on you and it will grab you, and then your game will fucking crash on you on purpose. And that shit sucks. I had that one happen once. That shit sucks because it literally makes it so you have to close your entire game out and you have to go back in and you have to either start a new save or find some way to avoid that entity for the entire night. And I didn't like that element. But the other ones were really interesting. Like the ones where like they would come and knock out your power, so you had to like go and repair it in the middle of the night, but something's out there and you keep hearing those sounds and everything. And then sometimes they just fuck with you, like they come to you in your nightmares essentially when you're dealing with all this stuff. And it's a super interesting and very different game. It's all free to play. It's on itch.io. When I say free to play, I mean it's one of those games where you can give the person money just at however much you want, or you can just play it, that sort of thing. It's super different from anything I've ever seen, and the fact that it's such a slow burn of a horror game. I'm not even telling you all the other horror elements there are. I'm giving you very little in case anyone actually wants to play it. But that is what makes this so interesting, because it does feel like you're just playing like a simulator, like, bus sim, truck sim, whatever, those kind of games where you're doing a job and it's something very specific that you probably wouldn't do otherwise, but it's definitely like done in a very good way that it feels like you're actually doing whatever it is this thing is that it wants you to do. But then when it introduces the actual horror elements into it, it really, really makes it a lot more interesting, because you're doing the simulator like job game, but you also have some kind of entities that are trying to stop you from doing this job, essentially, only because they don't know what the hell you're doing, but they know it's causing you to be able to communicate with them, and they don't really like that because they'd rather not be seen. So It's super interesting and a very different kind of game that I don't think I've ever seen before. I don't know, because there's so many buttons and so many things to do, because it is a sim game, flight sim, whatever, those sort of kind of games, that I don't know how it would translate to console if it ever could. But if it does, I highly recommend playing it, because it is unlike anything else I've probably ever played. And
would you say it's out of this world?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, you have to plug in your microwave and shit, and like actually take the food and put it inside and like cook it and whatnot, and you have to actually, like I said, home in on the signal in all those very many different ways, and it's super interesting and very, very unique. And because of that, I think it's really cool. And then the horror elements on top of it make it even more interesting as well, I think. There's that one that I said that really sucks, the one where it literally crashes your game and there's nothing you can do about it. But everything else is like, it's really good. So there you go.
Okay.
Cool game. Very interesting
That sounds very neat. That one actually sounds very cool. That's what I've been playing. Pokemon. So back to the Pokemon.
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know.
Pokemon.
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 Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, so I've been just kind of mucking around with that. What did I do? I finished I got all the badge things in the core game. So I finished that. Then I went to go do, what was it? Oh, I remember what I was going to say. So then I went through and then I did all of the first DLC stuff. So there's that. And when I say all, I mean like the story bits. Like I didn't go through and, catch the Pokedex. Like not that kind of all, but just kind of story bits. And then I started on the new DLC. And so just kind of, I guess maybe like food for thought. If you remember when I talked about picking up this game last week, I was like, oh yeah, I just kind of just like gave my starter like a huge amount of XP candy from my other file, transferred it back, and then just used it to wreck this game, which is what I was doing last week. Well, that strategy only lasted so long, as you may know, because it's only one Pokemon, it's a high level, and not everyone. And while you can get some, help by doing that, it's not going to give you full coverage, especially for like higher level Pokemon. So while I was able to get through like the normal badge stuff from like the main game pretty easily, I would say. I ran into an issue when I got to the Elite Four, which I had to go back to because I just got like my ass handed to me because they were like, oh, we got level 70 Pokemon. And, my other one was level 80 and the stuff I'd just been catching out in the wild been like in the 50s. So I don't have much that was like up to that level. So I was like, oopsies, can't do that yet. But anyway, so yeah, I finished the DLC, the first DLC again, which is where you're doing the Mask Festival and exploring the land of Kitakari or something like that. And I don't remember what it is. And that was fun. I did not remember even, I think at the time, how much more exposition there is in the DLC compared to the main game. The main game had a lot too, which I also did not remember. The game just likes to talk and not shut up a lot. And the DLC does too, apparently. And then I got to the new area and they're like, oh yeah, go check this thing out. Well, so I got to the new area, immediately get my ass handed to me because they're also using level 70 Pokemon. The DLC, the first DLC, did not. Like it just kind of played like a middle of the road kind of level. I think maybe the highest level I saw was between like maybe like 30 and 50 there. This one starts right out level 70 stuff. So my level 80 Meowscarada, which is my only Pokemon that level, got wrecked pretty quickly. And then ended up losing, but it was one of those ones where it's like, yeah, you can just keep going. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it's like, oh, we got this huge biodome here with all these different terrains. Like, why don't you go check that out? So I go and do that, and I do a mission there, and then all of a sudden the game's like, you can't do anything else until you beat the Elite Four, and I was like, fuck. So then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll go back and do that then. And that's when I got wrecked by the Elite Four at that point. I was like, oh, not leveled enough for these people yet. So that's where it is. Yes, I've been going through and doing that and working on getting some of the Pokemon in my Pokedex that I don't have yet. And yeah, that's just kind of where I am. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet though. I guess I got two options. I can either just level up the rest of the Pokemon that I got and go in there, which I don't think would be like too terribly hard. Or I could just switch over to my main file and just go back to the DLC that way, which I should do that too. But I don't know. I had things, but it's fun. I mean, the DLC Pokedex is pretty large. I want to say it's like 300, I think is what it had in it. It has a good chunk of Pokemon. Between the Pokemon games that are on the Switch, there are very few Pokemon that are not represented in one game or another. So that is pretty nifty. They did. What else was I going to say about this too? there is a lot of like looks like post game stuff to kind of muddle through with this one too. I was kind of looking. There's some legendaries you can go back through and catch, and some new moves you can get. Like I guess your ride Pokemon can get like a permanent flying ability, so that's neat. I don't know. This DLC, I mean, it's really too early for me to say because I really didn't get to do much. But the second DLC doesn't seem like it's wildly impressive. So I don't know how I feel about this DLC overall yet. I think I'm a bit lower on the first DLC, the TL Mask, than I was when I played it originally, having gone through it again. But I do still think it's better than at least one of the DLC from Sword and Shield. I did really like the Tundra DLC and Sword and Shield. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. That's all my thoughts on Random Pokemon Violet. I expect I'll have probably at least another week of it. So I just got to go through and finish up what I'm doing. I made such good strides this last week. So there's that. I'm trying to think, was there anything else Pokemon wise? I didn't watch it, but I guess Pokemon Concierge picked up for more episodes a couple weeks ago.
I haven't watched that yet. Have you watched it?
No, I've heard it's excellent. People were saying it's supposed to be really good. That was the one that was kind of like what stop motion animation looking. Is that what it looked like? I think.
No, it's claymation, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just stop motion animation.
Yeah, stop motion. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Oh, I thought so. But yeah, that one looks good. It's supposed to be really good. So I kind of might be in the mood to check that out. Other than that, not too much. It's you don't have it down there, but it's like eclipse fever up here right now because we have that solar eclipse this week.
Yeah, I heard about all that.
So
People
we're in like
crazy about that shit.
Yeah, we're in the path of totality. So there's like signs up everywhere that's like things are going to be crazy. It's like, oh, good, can't wait.
I just want to play a game. Just leave me alone.
Oh, they're like, there'll be severe delays. I'm like, well, I'm not leaving my house, so you can have severe delays all you want.
Enjoy your delays. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. There's new music in Fortnite this week. There's you ever heard of Management? Do you know of that band?
No, never heard of it.
Okay, so Management is a very chill, like they're almost like hippie vibe. MGMT, that's Management. They have a song called Kids. It's like very, very well known. You've probably heard it before and you just don't know you've heard it. But
once you spelled it out like that, I'm pretty sure I've heard them. I didn't think that's how
I'm still gonna give you the link to their song because the song's like really good. But anyway, they're coming to Fortnite this week, and so is Everlong. And I love both of these songs. So there's that. I'm pretty excited for those. So yeah. And then next week, I believe it is, Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender is being added to Fortnite. He's getting his own battle pass, and that's going to be fun. So yeah, I don't know.
Random.
I just want to play games. Well, they already have Korra in it. Korra came to this season, so now they're adding Aang.
Oh, then you have to at that point.
Yeah, basically. I'm just chill. I don't give a fuck about this stupid thing. It's like, oh, wow, it's going to be dark. I have blackout curtains. I'm not even going to notice.
Yeah, probably. Are you getting like a partial eclipse even?
I don't even know. I haven't looked. I just don't care.
Oh, fair.
I've seen a lot of people freaking out about it to the point where it's made me not want to care about it because I don't want to appear to be one of those freaks.
I think for us it's exciting, but just because I don't know, I never had one. We had like a partial one when I was growing up, but that's all I remember. I don't think we ever had like a full one. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. But you're right. It probably won't be much different than blackout curtains. I'll be like, why am I outside? I'll probably be sunburned. I don't know. Anyways, ready to move on to news?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I started listening to the song I linked you. I forgot how fucked up this music video is. So yeah. I also wanted to show you my gameplay from Stellar Blade, but yeah, I'll just wait until you have time for that. Okay. So you could like kind of get an idea for it, but whatever. All right, yeah, let's get into news. Fuck it.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, really all we have for news this week is Take-Two is purchasing Gearbox. So
yep, that's a thing.
$460 million
Yeah, and okay, we were talking about this a little bit before, and you told me I'm kind of wrong for what you understand. Didn't they purchase Gearbox? Embracer did for like 4 billion or 3 billion or some dumb shit,
yeah,
and now
like
they're like
1.3 billion. So my understanding though is that like that total it was cash and like stock options. So they, because of something to do with the stocks as they transition companies in the sale, from what it sounded like, if they're either making like a financial profit or like breaking even, like it didn't sound like it was necessarily a bad deal for Embracer. And also too, they're keeping a bunch of pieces of Gearbox, which I didn't realize as well. They're keeping Gearbox Publishing. They're keeping some other subsidiaries that they had. They're keeping some IPs that they had from the subsidiaries, not from like core Gearbox. Like they're still leaving Borderlands, obviously. But yeah, it doesn't sound like it was necessarily a bad deal for Embracer, really. So, and it sounded like too, Gearbox has done a pretty good job about keeping themselves from getting scrapped over the years. So, I mean, Randy Pitchford seems to use his magic to keep his company together. So, and I also think probably Take-Two might even be a better fit for them anyway. Didn't Take-Two used to be a publisher for them?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I don't know. But I'm sure they'll be fine. It seems like they're pretty independent on their own. I think they said they're working on 5 titles, 6, maybe 5 or 6 titles. And I think it was 6 titles. 5 of them were from existing IPs, something like that. So they're coming with some stuff too. But yeah, I don't know. And then I think I read too, they were just immediately hit with layoffs as well. So just to join the club, join everyone else. But yeah, no, it's good. Definitely good that they didn't close. Hopefully they're with a better home. So I don't know. I don't have anything else to say about it. I don't know if you do.
No, not really.
No. So
I mean, so here's like the thing, right? Mm-hmm. I already don't think that Gearbox is that great. Like, I don't think they've done a good game in a long while. So like, this does not bother me. It doesn't affect me in any way whatsoever. I also think Take-Two is pretty shit, but I also just don't care. Like, let's see, Take-Two Interactive, right? That's who ended up buying them. Is that it?
Yeah.
Let's see what they've done recently. Oh, goody. I guess they have Rockstar, but like, come on. And the 2K series. Yeah, whatever. And now they have Borderlands. I don't know. I just can't be fucked to care.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
like... And like, I already am kind of hesitant about GTA 6 and with how things are being handled. So I don't know. I just don't give a shit.
Yeah, I have no clue how this will come out. I can't imagine it would affect them too much. I mean, Take-Two doesn't really seem like the let's drive our franchises into the ground type company.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Oh, I mean, they do love their microtransactions. Let's be honest.
Doesn't Gearbox love their microtransactions too?
Yeah, I guess you're right. They can combine them.
They could just be one happy family. Anything else you want to talk about? I don't think I have anything else.
Honestly, no. I haven't got really anything else to talk about either.
Okay. Ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Wow. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us tonight. Don't forget to find us at iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. You also can reach out to us at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com if you want to send us any feedback or questions or concerns, whatever. And you can check out our website, game-crunch.com. It has all our old episodes. Brandon.
Yep.
Any final thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Okay. That's it. My name is Mike Anastasia. You can find me online on Clash of Penguin there or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on. yeah, I sent you the video, so let's watch that real quick. So
Okay,
I
that
can
was the
kind
Stellar
of
Blade demo
yeah
boss. Okay.
yeah. So I can kind of explain a little bit of like what I was talking about like the stiff timing and everything. So you can see that.
Okay.
I'm at 0. Just let me know when you are.
Okay. I'm at 0.
All right.
All right. 1,
3.
2.
Oh yeah, go.
1,
Sorry.
2, 3.
Okay. So I decided to skip the cutscene because I didn't give a fuck. But this is like the challenge boss. So after you beat the original demo, you get this, which takes place later on in the game. So I could not block that last one, even though I blocked all the other ones before it, which is really weird. The timing is very different sometimes than it actually is for the other times. That purple circle that appeared was not explained. I had to have someone online tell me what to do. It's very different from all the other blocks and dodges that we were informed of in the demo. So you don't even get to learn how to avoid that, and it's back in circle. Every other one has been forward in circle. So not having